Guys, about how I accidentally snitched on my sister in high school for sneaking out. So she was in 12th grade and I was in 9th grade, but I probably had the maturity level of like a 5th grader and the knowledge of a 5th grader. To put things in perspective, at this time I was sleeping with my little brother because we would stay up all night and play Minecraft. Very well under what I should have been at my age. So one night, me and my little brother finished our Minecraft Chronicles. And I believe I fell asleep for a little bit, but then I noticed my sister's light was on, so I was like, I'm gonna go be nice and turn that off for her. So I went to turn her TV off, and I noticed there was blankets covering her on her bed, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's not gonna be able to breathe. And when I tell you, this is literally my 9th grade thoughts. So when I pulled the blanket back to help her breathe better, I saw these pillows in position that looked like a human. And this is gonna sound so dramatic. After I did that, I noticed her curtain was blowing and it's nighttime, so everything was more dramatic to me. So in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody kidnapped my sister, left her TV, her light on, made it look like there was somebody still sleeping in her bed so that they could get away with this. So I'm already freaking out, already on the verge of tears, and I'm like, I have to go run to my parents' room and tell them that Sarah's kidnapped. And how naive I was at the time definitely kept me from understanding the situation, obviously. So I go into my parents' room and I'm like, guys, Sarah's kidnapped, and I'm crying already. And the first thing my mom does is hop out of bed and goes, Sarah snuck out. And I was no part of me thought that. I was like, no, mom, she's kidnapped. You don't understand. The curtain was swinging in the dark. So I start sitting on the couch while my parents are calling her and going outside to see where she's at. And I'm crying, but at this point I'm like, maybe I did accidentally snitch. So my sister gets home and she's explaining her side of the story to my parents and why she had to do what she did. And I'm just sitting there So at this point, she's obviously a little sad because she got in trouble. I would have got in trouble too. And I'm just I'm going to go in her room and comfort her. And don't think I'm a snake because I didn't know. Not my stupid self saying to her, I wouldn't have told on you. I just thought you got kidnapped. She goes, you told? Yeah, that was me. Moral of the story, if you ever think you're not a cool person, at least you're not me.
This is why I will never go to the gym at night ever again. Unless I'm with a group of friends, you won't see me there. So I went with my best friend spontaneously at 8 or 8:30 p.m. It's a nice gym, okay? It's in a safe part of town, but that doesn't matter. So we were taking turns on the machine where there's the 2 ropes and you're pulling them down towards you. I don't know the name, don't judge me. People have made fun of me for this and called me too anxious or whatever, but I'm always very aware of my surroundings. Maybe from past trauma, but it is what it is. So Becca's doing the arm pull down thingies because it's her turn, and I look at the entrance. He's wearing head to toe, long sleeve, dragging on the floor, black cape. And then as he's walking, it flows behind him. You can see that he's wearing jeans to the gym. So very unusual gym outfit. I'm not one to judge. I'm just saying bro did not look like he came there to work out. So I'm just keeping my eye on him, and he starts walking around the gym, making full laps around the place. So he was there by himself, and I noticed he had a skateboard tucked into his arm, and I was like, what is bro doing? He's making these laps around the gym. I noticed that it doesn't look like he's looking for a workout machine to use because he's quickly walking around and scanning every person there up and down. So I say something to Becca. I'm like, hey, keep an eye out for this guy. He's kind of freaking me out. I don't know what he's doing. And she's like, you're being crazy. I was like, no, I'm telling you, this isn't just me being anxious. I have a weird feeling about this. Literally, as I'm doing my set, he walks over to me, facing me, almost puts his head through the machine I'm using to look at me, does the most obvious, up, down stare I've ever seen in my life. And it freaked me out so much I literally dropped the weights. I just kind of stumbled back. And then he kind of nods his head noted. And starts doing that to everyone else at the gym. So at this point I turn around and I'm like, Becca, you saw that, right? And she's like, what? No, because she was on her phone. And then I tell her what happened and she's like, Jessie, you're being crazy. Stop. And I honestly don't blame her for not believing me because I'm always overanalyzing shit. But then everyone in the gym literally stops what they were doing. When I tell you I've never seen anything like it. These people that don't know each other start taking off their headphones, looking at each other, and everyone just silently walks into the middle into the circle. It sounds like I'm making this up. I promise you this is exactly how it went. So I look over at my best friend and she's like, you were right. You were right. So we join up with everyone else, and there's a guy saying he's seen this guy at the gym before, and normally he's harmless, but today he's acting really weird. And this other girl was saying that she noticed the whole time he was walking around, he had his hand in his cape, he was holding something you couldn't see underneath his cape. Told everyone what had just happened to me, and some other people were like, yeah, that just happened to us too. And as we're all talking, I'm watching this guy still, and he's walking towards the restrooms. He literally stops, looks around, and then peeks his head in the women's room, looking like he's trying to see, which is also a locker room. And then he just runs into the men's room, runs. I'm like, oh, hell no. And the only kid working there at the front desk comes up and he's like, what's going on, guys? All of us tell him what happened and all of our stories. And everyone's like, this guy's making everyone uncomfortable. Can you please do something? Right then the guy walks back out from the bathrooms. The guy that's working there sees him. The kid working there was young. He's like, well, I mean, I don't really think there's much I can do. I don't really want to like go over there and talk to him. So, and everyone's like, bro, can you handle it? Some guy literally was like, I'm about to go over there and like deck him in the face. The kid working there is like, no, don't do that. I'll get in trouble. The guy that said he was gonna deck him in the face also said that he was literally recording him the whole time. He was like, I have video proof. I was following him around recording him. Like, I can show you. You need to do something about this. The kid just did not want to do anything about it. And as the guy is walking out from the bathroom, he literally had his hand under his cape pocket like he was holding something, just like the girl said. And I looked at my best friend and I was like, I don't like this. Let's go. And she was like, yep, I'm out. I don't know what happened. Ran out and went and got Chick-fil-A to console our miseries, and then told everyone on Instagram about it on a live. And the very next week, a different guy got very aggressive with my best friend there and literally was like trying to kidnap her. We'll save that story for next time. This is why you always have to be aware of your surroundings and maybe not go to the gym at night.
People are telling me that my girlfriend cheated on me. So last month, my girlfriend of 2 years got asked to go on a cheap vacation with a group of people she kind of knows. She's friends with 2 people in the group, and they were going to get a discount if they had 10 people to go on the trip. It was a 10 for 8 discount, and basically 2 people would go on the trip for free, but their friend group had only 9 people, so they asked my girlfriend. She didn't want to go, but her friend pressured her, saying that she's never left the country before and it would be fun. She caved and went on the trip, and she hated it. Like, she would call me to do nothing but complain about the activities in the group, which I understood because the planned trip was all stuff my girlfriend hates. Scuba diving, she's afraid of the ocean, hiking for a day and a half, she doesn't like camping, going to parties, she has sensory issues, being a slut on the beach, which is what she called the day she spent watching the other 9 girls flirt with everything that moved and other stuff. She's introverted, and I can count on my hands the number of times she leaves the house in a week, including taking out the trash or going grocery shopping. She works from home as well, so she doesn't have to go to the office. She came back about 2 weeks ago, and the day before yesterday, I got a text from my sister saying that we needed to talk. I met her yesterday and she told me that my girlfriend cheated on me on the trip. Apparently, one of the girls felt guilty and told my sister, who's friends with her. According to this girl, my girlfriend went clubbing with them, had 10 shots, got drunk, kissed a guy, went to the bathroom with him, and guess what? My sister apparently got video evidence of this. She showed me a crappy video in 360p of a girl with the same hair color and build as my girlfriend. The quality of the video was so horrible that for all I knew, it could be Lana Rhoades in it. And none of the actions of that night described my girlfriend. The clubbing. She hates the sensory overload from the loud music and flashing lights. She would never go to a nightclub. 10 shots. My girlfriend is a lightweight that can barely function after 3 cocktails. If she had 10 shots, she'd probably be dead. Not to mention that she hates the taste of alcohol and only drinks fruity cocktails. That makes no sense to me. And this apparently took place on their last night there. When I picked her up from the airport, she was so fresh and happy to see me. In contrast, all the other girls looked like zombies. There were more holes in the story than Swiss cheese, but my sister was so insistent that I just told her I'd talk to my girlfriend to get her to leave me alone. I went home and said that people said you cheated on me and I'm confused why, and she was just as confused. She said none of that ever happened and she spent the last night there in her room on her laptop. She wanted to get a good night's sleep before the flight since she finds it hard to sleep on airplanes. And one other important factor is that she was cheated on in her previous relationship, and she told me a long time ago that she would break up with me instead of cheating because no one deserves to go through something like that. I believe my girlfriend, but it's my sister who's telling me this, someone I'm incredibly close to and trust. If her friend came to me with this story, I would likely have laughed in her face. And honestly, it took everything in me not to laugh at my sister, but my sister wouldn't lie to me, so now I'm conflicted. And now she's gone and told a bunch of mutual friends who are telling me that the proof all points to her cheating on me. The proof is so full of holes that no one would ever believe it. But the person telling me this is one of the most important people in my life. But another person incredibly important to me is telling me that the story isn't true.
I had just been dress coded for having a singular rip on my knee, right? And the vice principal and the assistant teacher harassing me the whole time. They make me change in a room with cement walls and dirt floors. They lock me in there, make me change, and they give me pants from the Lost and Found that are 2 sizes too small and dirty, right? So the teacher's walking me back to my class. She's harassing me the whole time, making fun of me. And I get back to class and I'm just crying because I'm so humiliated. They really just brought me down. So my teacher comes up to me and she's like, what's wrong? What happened? Why did they take you down to the office? What took so long? And I tell her the story, and I tell the class the story, and nobody believes me. They're like, well, some of the students did. They were like, what, really? That's crazy. But the teacher was like, I'm not buying it. You're lying to me. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't believe myself either. That's crazy, right? So at the end of the day, I go down to the office and I ask for my pants back, and they said, no, we don't want you wearing those pants again. So I was like, okay, I'll go back another day. And I was like, okay, yeah, well, I did pay for those with my money, and I won't wear them to school again, but can I have my pants back? And they're like, no, right? So I'm like, okay. I go back the next day. Hey, can I have my pants back? No, sorry. And I was in 8th grade, so this was my last year of middle school. Up until the last day of school, they wouldn't give me my pants back. And to this day, I'm in high school now, I don't have my pants. They still have my pants.
I'm gonna tell you guys about the first time I ever got scammed. I'm trying to remember my age. I think I was 9. So I was friends with a bunch of other kids in the neighborhood. I know, a weird concept. Anyway, these kids were a bit older than me. You know, most of them were like in middle school. One of the boys, I'd say he was about 12, was going around the neighborhood trying to sell some of his items. He was encouraging the other kids to buy from him or to trade something better. I wanted to be a part of this, so I asked if I could sell him anything. He said, oh, you have a skateboard, right? This was a skateboard that I had begged my mom to buy me. He was like, oh, if you give me your skateboard, I'll give you some money for it. I was like, really? I run inside, grab my skateboard. Mom was like, what are you doing with that? I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go do something. I'll be right back. I was so stupid. Kid grabs a skateboard and he's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And I'm like, so how much are you gonna give me for it? I'm Latina, we don't have allowances. I've never had actual money before. He goes, oh, I have to go back to my house. I'll get the money and I'll bring it back to you. So he takes the skateboard, leaves, and I'm standing there for a good half hour. I was expecting $10, maybe 5. You will not believe what this kid came back with. This is part 2 of the first time that I ever got scammed. So this kid left and said he'd be right back with the money. I was standing on the street corner, waiting for this kid. I was starting to get nervous. So much time was passing by, and my mom was waiting for me. I was nervous because I needed to prove to her that I did not just give away my skateboard for no reason, that this kid was actually going to give me enough money for it. She was going to be proud of me, I don't know. I had no idea where this kid lived, but I start walking down the street in the way that he left so that maybe I could see him. I walk for a while and I finally see him walking down the street. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness. I go up to him and I'm like, hey, do you have the money? Starts the sentence with, so here's the thing. He begins to tell me that he actually doesn't have the money right now. That'll pay me later. But in the meantime, here's a baseball that his dad told him is going to be worth something someday. I take it from him and I go home and I start to cry. I walk through the door and my mom's like, where's your skateboard? I try to explain to her, I'm like, this is actually a baseball and it's going to be worth something someday. I never see that kid again and my mom was furious with me.
My aunt tried to poison my mom? Story time. So one thing to keep in mind is that my mom and my aunt do not get along. And a few years ago, my aunt was going through some financial troubles, so she had to come live with us for a little while. And since she was going through a little bit of troubles, her and my mom came up with this deal that my aunt would just help around the house, you know, like cook dinner, clean up, stuff like that. Well, about 2 weeks after she moved in, my mom started to become really sick. And we literally had no idea what was causing it. My mom was just having severe stomach pains. And it got so bad that my mom ended up passing out and we had to rush her to the emergency room. Well, they ended up running some tests and come to find out my mom had bleach in her system. So my dad gets angry and starts questioning my aunt, and my aunt confesses to putting bleach inside of my mom's food every time she cooked for her. It was so bad that if we waited any longer, my mom would have died.
Story time. How I got revenge on the school's popular girl and never got caught. In my school, we have 3 stereotypical popular girls. Let's call them Bree, Emma, and Ava. They are all very popular, stuck up, and rude. But the main one is Bree. Bree is very toxic and rude. She forces people to do her homework and is a very terrible person. Well, in 5th grade, I decided to get my revenge on her. My teacher set up this site. I won't say his name for privacy reasons. On the site, she would give us writing prompts and we could write. However, the catch was all other students could see and edit your work. There was also no way that you could see who was editing your work because the whole site was anonymous, really. One day, the teacher gave us a writing prompt and told all of us to write. I decided to see what Bree was doing. That's when I had a great idea. Because the site was anonymous, I could edit and destroy all of Bree's work. I ended up deleting a bunch of her writings and wrote a bunch of nasty and rude comments. She ended up finding out and went around asking everyone who did that to her account. I denied it. The next day, the teacher was making us present our writings. To make it less suspicious that Bree was the only person who got hacked, I decided to hack others as well. That included some of my friends and me. I specifically stuck with just messing around with the girls and not getting involved with the boys. But let me say, the next day when the teacher told us to read, basically all the girls' writings were ruined, including mine. I was also the teacher's pet, so she wasn't suspicious. But that's when things took a turn. The teacher said she knew the owner of this website and that the owner could find out who did it. I started to freak. Like, oh no, I wasn't getting in trouble. Thankfully, the teacher was absent for a while after that, and she never found out who was responsible. It was me, and nobody will ever know.
This is a story time about how I got lost in Disneyland. So my parents took me and my twin sister to Disneyland for our 11th birthday and we were super excited. So we were having a blast, but I noticed that my parents were giving my sister more attention than me. So I decided to just go and explore by myself. And when I was exploring all of the cool things that they had at Disneyland, I had gotten lost from my parents. I couldn't find them anywhere and I was super scared and I started to cry. But luckily one of the staff members helped me find them and my parents were so thankful and they weren't mad at me at all. But that's my story, LOL.
She sliced her face? Story time. Y'all, this is why you do not mess with the quiet kids. In 11th grade, I used to be friends with this girl named Olivia. And Olivia was one of those people who were really shy, kind of to themselves, didn't really speak much, you know what I mean? And this other girl, who we're gonna name Nicole, used to bully Olivia to the point where Olivia was scared to come to school sometimes. And Olivia tried telling the teachers and even tried telling the parents, but no one did anything about it. So I was like, if no one's gonna help you out, you need to stand up for yourself, okay? And make sure you get her good. Let her know that you are not the one to be played with.